Good morning, all of you. We can move on to the next session, that is how to determine the order of a reaction. So this is a very important topic. It is a sure question for your university examination. So you have to study this particular topic, and also sometimes it might be, normally it will be asked in section C, but now while I am going through this your question pattern, it can be in section D also. Okay, so please study it for an essay, be prepared for it an essay. So determination of order of a reaction. Normally order, it is denoted by the letter N, isn't it? And the order can be 0, first order, a second order reaction, and also a third order reaction. So N can be 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. And there are different methods for determining the order of a reaction. Okay. So the first method, that is using the integrated rate equations, that we had seen so many rate equations, isn't it, for 0 order, first order, etc. So that is the first method, that is using integrated rate equations. Then the second method, and also in this two different methods are there that we can go through later. Then the second method is that by fractional life method or half-life method, by using fractional life method or half-life method. By fractional life or half-life method. And then the third one, that is the differential rate equation method. Differential rate equation method. Then the fourth one, that is using Ostwald's isolation method. Ostwald's isolation method. Okay, so these are the four different methods for determining the order of a reaction. The first one, that is using integrated rate equation. Second one, using fractional life method or half-life method, that is by calculating the T half. Then the third one, that is differential rate equation. Then the fourth one, that is Ostwald's isolation method. So we can go through this one by one. The first case, that is using integrated rate equation. Using integrated rate equation. So here two methods are there by using integrated rate equation. So see, here you had gone through the different rate equations, integrated rate expressions. So we can do it in two ways. It can be by it can be done by analytically or graphically from the graph, or by using the integrated rate equations. Okay, so two methods here we will be using integrated rate equation. So first is the analytical method A. Okay, the first one, that is the analytical method. That is, analytical method means we are using the terms, that is we are using the integrated rate expressions, isn't it? So for example, K1 for the first order reaction, K1 is equal to 1 by T or 2.303 by T ln A by A minus X. That is this is the integrated rate expression for a first order reaction. So by substituting the values of A, then K1, T and A minus X, by substituting the values of A, T and A minus X, we will be getting the rate constant, isn't it? And also by calculating the rate constants at different time intervals, we can know the order of that particular reaction, isn't it? We had done the problems also. There you had calculated so many values for K1 at different intervals of time. So by keeping, if we are getting the K1 value a constant, then we can say that the reaction is of the first order reaction. Okay, so using this analytical method, you have to know the value of A. What is A? A is the initial concentration, or at the start of the reaction, the concentration of the reactants. That is A. Then A minus X means after a time T, isn't it? When time is equal to T, the concentration becomes A minus X, that value. Then T. That T means it is the time taken. Okay. So by knowing all these values, we can calculate the order of the reaction. That is, if we are getting a constant value for K1, we will be having this in the order of the reaction. Okay, so please go through that problem, then it will be clear. Then the next one, that is the graphical method, that you have to study in detail. Okay, so the B part, that is the graphical method. Graphical method. See, this graphical method we can calculate for two graphs, that is the first case, that is for first order reaction. For a first order reaction. Already I had written this derivation, or this small derivation. That is, for a first order reaction, what about the integrated rate equation? It will be equal to K1 is equal to 1 by T ln A by A minus X, isn't it? So this is ln to the base E, isn't it? So K1 is equal to 1 by T ln A by A minus X. Then on rearranging K1T, that is equal to ln A by A minus X. Then what about the next step? This is in the form of log A by B, isn't it? ln A by B, that is equal to ln A minus ln B. So K1T is equal to ln A minus ln A minus X. Okay. Then again you have to rearrange this equation. ln A minus X. ln A minus X is equal to, what about ln A minus X? It will be equal to minus K1T plus ln A, isn't it? Minus K1T plus ln A. See, this minus ln A minus X will be taking to the left side, then K1T will be coming to the right side. So it becomes minus K1T plus ln A. Okay, so then the next step is that, see, what about this equation? This is the equation for a straight line which is in the form of y is equal to mx plus c, isn't it? Y is equal to mx plus c, where y is x is equal to, what is x here? X is equal to minus, x is equal to t, isn't it? X is equal to t, and x is equal to t, and y is equal to ln A minus x. X is equal to t and y is equal to ln A minus x. Then what about the slope? Slope is denoted by the letter m. So m is equal to slope of this equation, that is equal to minus k1. Okay. So if we are plotting a graph with t along the x-axis and ln A minus x along the y-axis, what about the slope of the straight line? That is equal to minus k1. And also this negative sign, it shows that particular straight line, it is having a negative slope. That is what this negative sign represents. Okay, so this particular reaction, it will be having a negative slope. So here we have to draw a graph with t along the x-axis and ln A minus x along the y-axis. So you have to draw the graph also. So in the graph, t along the x-axis and ln A minus x along the y-axis. Okay, and also what about the slope? It is a negative slope and it will be like this, isn't it? It will be decreasing. So it is a negative slope. So the slope of this reaction, m, will be equal to minus k1. Okay. So this is the first case for a first order reaction. So this graph is also very, very important. You have to draw the graph also if this question is asked. Okay. Then the next one for a second order reaction. For a second order reaction. Okay. Then you have to write down the integrated rate equation for a second order reaction, that is K2 is equal to 1 by T into x divided by A into A minus x, or by cross multiplying K2 T is equal to x divided by A into A minus x. Then you have to split this term. So it will be equal to, what is x divided by A into A minus x? While simplifying, this term will be equal to 1 by A minus x minus 1 by A, isn't it? So while taking the LCM, we will be getting this term, isn't it? So K2T is equal to 1 by A minus x minus 1 by A. Then again you have to write this equation in the form of a straight line. So you have to convert it into the equation for a straight line into that form. Okay. So again 1 by A minus x 1 by a minus x, that is equal to k2t plus 1 by a. Okay, this 1 by a will be going to the left side. So 1 by a minus x is equal to k2t plus 1 by a. So this is the equation for a straight line. Y is equal to again mx plus c. Then what about x and y here? X is equal to t. Then y is equal to this term, isn't it? Y is equal to 1 by a minus x. You have to equate all these terms. Y is equal to 1 by a minus x. And what about the slope of the equation? Slope is equal to k2. Okay, so this is a simple reaction. This is a simple equation also. You have to compare with the equation for a straight line. Y is equal to mx plus c. Okay, so again you have to draw the graph with t along the x-axis, 1 by a minus x along the y-axis, and it will be like this. T along the x-axis and 1 by a minus x along the y-axis. Okay. And what about the slope? The slope value, it is equal to k2. It is a positive value. That means the graph will be like this. So the slope of this reaction will be equal to k2. Okay. So m is equal to k2. It is a positive slope. So this is the positive slope. And in the previous case for a first order reaction, it is a negative slope. Okay. So hope you are clear with this graphical method. Then the next method. So this particular category is over using integrated rate equation, that is by two methods, that is by using the integrated rate expression, that is analytical method, and the second one, that is the graphical method. Okay. Then the next one, by using fractional life method or half-life method. By fractional life method or half-life method. See this method, this method was suggested by Ostwald. And also see for half-life of a reaction, I had written a general expression in the last video, isn't it? And the expression, it is like this: T half is directly proportional to 1 by a raised to n minus 1. Isn't it? T half is directly proportional to 1 by a raised to n minus 1. What about A? A is the A is the initial concentration of the reaction. What is N? N is the order of the reaction, isn't it? So again, suppose if two experiments are conducted at different concentrations. Okay, let the different concentrations, let it be A1 and A2. We are conducting two experiments and we will be having two different half-lives, isn't it? So corresponding to A1, the half-life will be equal to T half of 1, and corresponding to A2, it will be T half of 2. Okay, so we are conducting two different experiments with two different concentrations. Okay, so you have to substitute these values. Okay, so what about this reaction? T half is directly proportional to 1 by a raised to n minus 1, isn't it? So we can write it as T half 1 divided by T half 2. Okay, it is a ratio, isn't it? So we can write it like this, that is equal to, this is inversely proportional, isn't it? T half is inversely proportional to the n minus 1th power of the initial concentration. So T half 1 will be equal to 1 by T half 2, it will be equal to A2 by A1, isn't it? A2 by A1, the whole raised to n minus 1, isn't it? It is inversely proportional. So T half 1, it is by T half 2, it is equal to A2 by A1, the whole raised to n minus 1. Then you can take the logarithms. Logarithms of the reaction, that is ln T half 1 by T half 2, that is equal to n minus 1 ln A2 by A1. Okay, T half 1 by T half 2 is equal to n minus 1 ln A2 by A1, or we can write it as n minus 1. N minus 1 is equal to ln T half 1 by T half 2, ln T half 1 by T half 2 divided by ln A2 by A1. divided by ln A2 by A1. Okay, so what is n? N is the order of the reaction. So again minus 1 can be moved to the right side. So n is equal to 1 plus this particular quantity, isn't it? 1 plus ln T half 1 by T half 2, the whole divided by A2 by A1. Okay, so this whole term, it is connected with this logarithm, isn't it? So ln 1 plus ln T half 1 by T half 2 divided by A2 by A1. So from this you can determine the order of the reaction. Thus we can determine the order of the reaction. Okay. So by conducting two different experiments at different concentrations A1 and A2, we can have two different values of T half 1 and T half 2, and from that we can calculate the order of the reaction. So this is the next method, second method, fractional life method or half-life method. Okay. Hope you are clear with this. Then the next one, that is the third one, that is the differential rate equation method. Differential rate equation method. Differential rate equation method. So this differential rate equation method, it is devised by Van Hoff. So it is otherwise called as Van Hoff's differential rate equation method. Okay. So this here we have to consider the general order of a reaction. Suppose if we are writing the order of a reaction as a general reaction, Na giving products, then how will you write the rate of this reaction? Rate is equal to the constant Kn, isn't it? Constant Kn into the concentration of A, the whole raised to n, isn't it? That is how we are writing the rate expression. So from this again we can write the rate of this reaction, or it can be equal to, rate is equal to, R is equal to Kn into concentration of A raised to n, that we can represent it by C raised to n. Okay, C also represents the concentration. Okay, then you have to take the logarithms of this particular step. Okay, so taking logarithms on both sides, taking logarithms on both sides, ln R is equal to ln Kn, isn't it? Ln Kn plus n log n ln C, isn't it? Ln R is equal to ln Kn plus n ln C. Okay, so see, this is also the an equation for a straight line, isn't it? So suppose if we are plotting a graph, this is also an equation for a straight line, which is in the form of y is equal to mx plus c. Y is equal to mx plus c, then we can write it as, so this will also be giving an equation for a straight line. So here ln c along the x-axis and ln r along the y-axis. Okay, so the slope will be equal to n, and the slope will be a positive slope, and the slope will be equal to n. Okay, so this is mx, then this is y ln r, then this is c. Okay, y is equal to mx plus c. So the on the x-axis we are plotting it as ln c, and on the y-axis, so x is equal to, what about the value of x? X is ln c, then y is equal to ln r, and m, the slope is equal to n. Okay, so by plotting these values we will be having the slope is equal to n. No way, I can't control, they are playing this, my kids, they are playing. Sorry for the sound noise here. Okay, then again ln r is equal to this much. So we will be getting a slope like this. Then again, if we are doing two different reactions, or we are calculating two different rates at I mean two different rates, that is R1 and R2 at two different concentrations, C1 and C2. Okay, then we can write the equation as, how will you write R1? R1 is equal to K1 or Kn into first concentration C1 raised to n, and R2 is equal to Kn into C2 raised to n. Kn is a constant, isn't it, since the reaction is of nth order. So if the reactions are carried out at two different concentrations, then R1 is equal to Kn into C1 raised to n, and R2 is equal to Kn into C2 raised to n. Okay. Therefore, we can write the equation as, just like the half-life period, you can compare these two rates. So R1 by R2 is equal to Kn into C1 raised to n divided by Kn into C2 raised to n. Okay, R1 by R2 is equal to Kn into C1 raised to n divided by Kn into C2 raised to n. Again, Kn got cancelled. So R1 by R2, that is equal to C1 by C2 the whole raised to n. Okay, R1 by R2 is equal to C1 by C2 the whole raised to n. R1 by R2, that is equal to C1 by C2 the whole raised to n. So again, taking logarithms, ln R1 by R2, that is equal to n ln C1 by C2. ln R1 by R2 is equal to n ln C1 by C2. Therefore, what is n? N is the order of the reaction. So here we have to determine the order. So what is n? N is equal to ln R1 by R2 divided by ln C1 by C2. Okay, n is equal to ln R1 by R2 divided by ln C1 by C2. So by knowing these values R1, R2 and C1, C2, we can determine the order of the reaction. Okay. Then the next one, the last method for determining the order of the reaction, that is Ostwald's isolation method. Ostwald's isolation method. See here, this method, it is used for, or it is employed for determining the order of a complicated reaction. For determining sound for determining the order of the reaction. This Ostwald's isolation method, it is used for determining the order of a complicated reaction. Sorry for the disturbance here. So this Ostwald's isolation method, it is used for determining the order of a complicated reaction. See here, complicated reaction means, till now we had seen the only two reactants, isn't it? Two reactants or one reactant. But in the case of a complicated reaction, the general expression, it will be like this: A plus B plus C giving products. That means more than two reactants will be there. So this is a complicated reaction. So in this case, we are using this Ostwald's isolation method. See here, Ostwald's isolation method, it is used for determining the order of a complicated reaction. And also what we are doing is that, see, in the term itself, one isolation is there, isn't it? In the method itself, one isolation term is there. So isolation means we are isolating one of the reactants. Okay, we are isolating one of the reactants, or we are taking the other two values or other two reactants in excess, and will be determining the order of the first reaction. Okay, first reactant. Okay, for example, see, to determine in this reaction A plus B plus C giving products, three reactants are there. So we have to determine the order of this particular reaction. So first of all, we will do like this. That is, we have to find out the order of the reaction with respect to A. Okay, we have to find out the order of the reaction with respect to A. For that, we will be taking B and C in excess. Okay, we will be taking B and C in excess. If B and C will be in excess, what about the order? The order will depend upon only on the concentration of A. Okay, so then we will be having the order of the first reactant. That is, we will be getting Na. Okay, then the next, the second step, that is, we have to determine the order with respect to B. So what all reactants will be taken in excess? A and C will be in excess. So if A and C will be taken in excess, we will be getting the order with respect to B, that is NB we will be obtaining. Okay, then again we have to determine the order with respect to C. Order with respect to C, then we will be taking A and B in excess, so that we will be getting NC, the order of the third reactant. Okay, so here in all these cases we are isolating one of the reactant, isn't it? We are isolating one of the reactant and we are taking the other two reactants in excess. Okay, so if we are taking the other two in excess, what happens? It will not be influencing the rate of the reaction. Okay, the other two reactants are in excess. It will not affect the rate of a reaction. Only A will be, the concentration of A will be affecting the reaction. Okay, so therefore we will be having Na, Nb and Nc. Okay, then what about the total order of the reaction? N is equal to Na plus Nb plus Nc. So this is the Ostwald's isolation method. Okay, so here it is used for determining the order of a complicated reaction. This part it is not in your textbook, I think. It is used for determining the order of a complicated reaction, and it is done by isolating. It is done by isolating one of the reactants. It is done by isolating one of the reactants. Okay, so therefore we will be having this reaction. For example, synthesis of HI from H2 and I2. Synthesis of HI from H2 and I2. H2 plus I2 giving 2HI. So here, if we are here only two reactants are present, but even though the two reactants are there, this reaction, it is a pseudo first order reaction. Pseudo first order reaction. That means, see, pseudo first order reaction means actually if we are writing the order of this reaction, what about the order? It will be 2, isn't it? That means the order of the overall order of the reaction will be 2, but actually it will be this is a first order reaction. Okay, so that is a pseudo first order. So here we have to calculate, first of all we have to take order with respect to order of the reaction with respect to hydrogen. Order of the reaction with respect to hydrogen. Then taking iodine in excess. Okay, iodine excess. That is the first step. Then the next step, we have to find out the order with respect to iodine. There we will be taking hydrogen in excess. Okay, so the overall order of the reaction. What about the overall order? N is equal to 1 plus 1, that is equal to 2. So it is a second order reaction, but actually it is a pseudo first order reaction. Okay, so these are the different methods for determining order of a reaction. So Ostwald's isolation method means we are isolating one of the reactants and other two reactants will be taken in excess. Okay, so this is a very, very important portion and you have to study it very clearly. It will be asked in either section C or section D. Sometimes it will be splitted and asked, or otherwise it will be asked for an essay part. So these are the 4 different methods. I think there is no need of saying it once more. If you are having any doubts, please ask me. Okay. So in the next video, we have to go through some of the kinetics of complex reactions, or we have to see what are complex reactions. Okay, that I will be discussing it as a second video. Okay, thank you.